We have a problem where we don't pay our KOLs. So basically, if you are in Solana and you make content for Solana, they pay you. If you're in Ethereum, you make content for Ethereum. There's somebody on that food chain that pays you. Same for Bitcoin and all these other places. There's people that actually cut you checks for making videos to talk about the ecosystem, one way or the other. What we do is we not only don't pay them, we expect them to pay out of their own pocket to do it, and then attack them anyway. And if they ever ask for anything, go fuck yourself. So the ambassador core is mostly uncompensated. The KOL layer is mostly uncompensated. And that's why the supply of people talking about Cardano is going down. There's about 6 people reliably making content in Cardano today. None of them really making any money at all. That's the truth of the matter. Okay, and we created this as an ecosystem because nobody is covering that. What is the consequence of it? In the dialogue, Cardano is considered to be the uncool chain. Nobody uses Cardano. Cardano is a dead project, all this other stuff. You hear it so many times, again and again and again and again. Why do you hear it? You hear it because there's nobody on the other side of the argument to say Cardano actually is valuable. It's something you should spend time in. We're getting our asses kicked on the brand and marketing side. We're getting our asses kicked on the brand and marketing side because there's almost zero investment. It was never a priority of the foundation. It was never a priority of Emergo. And IO long since stopped paying for these things. We funded the Cardano effect and all these other things way back in the early days. We pulled out and said, other core entities, please do it. They didn't do it. The KOL layer was unfunded. We haven't had meaningful control over the narrative and dialogue since 2021. Complain about it. You can try to point fingers at people, or you can just solve the fucking problem. So part of experiences is making sure there's ample funding, oversight, management to rebuild our ambassador and KOL layer. For midnight, every Friday, I have a seminar. People come in who want to be part of the Night Force, the Midnight Ambassador layer. And I do a webinar for 2 hours to do a whiteboard session, talk about why Midnight's special, why it's awesome. My goal is to train up 1,000 Midnight Ambassadors by June. It's a commitment I'm making. I will need to build that up. And there's a whole incentive layer and all these other things because we need a group of people to talk about why Midnight is special. There is plenty of amazing things in the infrastructure of Cardano, the philosophy of Cardano, the Cardano ecosystem and community. Who is the equivalent person to do this? It can't be me. It can't be. The ecosystem needs to step up. The entities in the ecosystem need to step up, figure out what the RACI is, the responsible, accountable, consultant informed structure is for the KOL layer, the ambassador layer of the system. That's one component of it. Second, the experiences, the wallets. Poo from the Hosky community. Poo, proof of onboarding. Good old Poo. It's 2 QR codes. It's 1 minute. I did it myself. Some of the people from the Hosky community were here in the office last week. Gave me the QR code. I scan it, Vesper wallet, click the button, install it. 30 seconds, it's installed. Scan the other QR code. Boom, I have Hosky token. 1 minute on board, I have a wallet. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to use the ecosystem. That's why there's 100,000 people that were onboarded into Hosky. Awesome. What is the Poo equivalent for ADA? How do we beat that? How do we make sure that that's there? It's relevant in the conversation. Easy to use, great onboarding, great offboarding, good on-ramp, good off-ramp, all this type of stuff. So you got to get a class of people to talk about it because we're currently uncooling. People say we're dead. Make us cool. Then you have to have a good onboarding experience. And you have to make it easy. And the wallet providers that are the backbone of the ecosystem, you got to give them something. Mobile first, make it super simple, great account abstraction, good experience with this whole thing. Okay? Then those experiences have to be hardwired in every single thing into the index, part of the concessions that they make, part of the alignment that they make. You guys remember the old day where it said Intel Inside or made for Microsoft or these types of things? There are a set of criteria, experiential requirements that would then be put so the UI UX of these things align with it. That's how they do it with multi-billion-dollar companies and multi-billion-person ecosystems. Google material design, Apple design standards, all this thing. We need to do the same as an ecosystem. There's experiential requirements, there's an onboarding flow, and there's a beautiful experience for this entire thing. Okay. And then there's presence. We need to make sure we're in the right places. There needs to be adequate funding for Cardano to be in the places that cryptocurrencies are at. You see with VeChain, for example, they sponsor UFC, as is crypto.com. People attend crypto conferences. There's non-crypto stuff to do. So there needs to be a collection of places with eyeballs, new users, and a collection of ambassadors to go to those places, those eyeballs, those new users, to put Cardano on the forefront. So a real budget does all three of these things. Does the infrastructure, does the utility, does the experiences. On the utility side, it's an investment. The ecosystem takes an investment in its ecosystem, and that creates a revenue share and token ownership. And as the ecosystem grows, what ends up happening is that ecosystem pays back the investment in dividend, in surplus. On the experiential side, your KPIs here are what? A growth in the user base, a growth in the TVL, a growth in the utility of the system.